The following program deals with controversial subjects. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation. The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Tonight on This Week in Redacted.
A child confides with a stranger about a secret door and the monster living within. A satanic symbol is spotted in the woods from high above. What secrets lie below? Is the mystery of the Nazca mummies finally answered? The University of Ica says yes. A hunter captures a haunting sound in the forest and suddenly realizes that he may be the prey. All this and the tales of Redacted. With your hosts, Chris and Ryan. This is This Week in Redacted.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is another week in This Week in Redacted. I am Ryan, one of your co-hosts, and this is the weekly podcast where we take a look at the top abnormal news as presented by Reddit. Now, you might be wondering how we do that. We basically have some big categories that are aliens, cryptozoology, conspiracy, and of course the paranormal. And certain subreddits filter into those categories, and we take the top most upvoted article off of the week, plop it off, and then examine it. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Chris. Chris, how's it going this week?
It's going pretty well, man. Starting to get dark earlier. Starting to get scarier vibes, Been, an interesting week. How's your week been so far?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, especially with some of the alien news that's coming out that we're going to be talking about later, right? Like that's definitely dominated my feed. So.
Oh man, I think I ignored it this week just because as soon as I found out that they were going to have another one, I was like, oh man, I don't think I'm ready for this.
Yeah, it's kind of like a flare up, right? Like an old injury, just like keeps coming up.
Yeah, it's like, remember how we talked about it at the beginning? It's like when we started the podcast, we said that I was like, this isn't normal. I think I told you this, right? That I was like, this isn't normal. We're not going to have any type of like information like this. Like, this is like not once in a lifetime opportunity, like event, but it's not normal. And to have it twice, it's kind of crazy.
I mean, to be fair, none of this is normal, right? Like all of this is abnormal news, right?
No, it's abnormal news. But you'll understand what I mean. We'll get the usual post or some odd post we'll get, and it's just like, okay. And we said it like I think like 2 weeks ago that I was like, everything's been kind of quiet, and it's like we jinxed it.
Yeah, it was definitely like we're the people that caused it, like 100% on this podcast. We're the reason why it happened. Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I said the Halloween stuff, right? I was like, it's kind of quiet, even though ghost stuff. I was like, nothing's happening at the moment, and then all of a sudden, it's just like a ridiculous amount of stuff. I was like, give it time. Halloween's about to happen. It's gonna start getting dark sooner. Give it some time.
That's something that a true believer would absolutely say. Which, by the way, if you're joining us for the first time, I am the local skeptic, and Chris is the true believer. And if you can, like and subscribe, because that will help us with getting out to more people. So
definitely the super believer, but I feel sometimes I'm more the skeptic than I am believer.
Well, I mean, look, everyone needs to be. Look, you have to. It's two sides of the same coin, right? Like if you're not taking that aspect, then you're missing out on a lot of, I think, value, right?
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, you ready to hop into it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's softball it. So we're gonna start off with from paranormal ghost subreddit. About 6K upvotes. Most people really like this post. 658 comments. I work a job where I have to inspect houses. This couple's 5-year-old daughter followed me upstairs to the bonus room and said, "He's in there." And then this is a shot of a door to the attic. So the implication here is that the daughter has seen some kind of ghost creature or something paranormal inside of this
little door, right? I guess
door.
what it is. Why does it
Yes.
always have like creepy vibes? Little door like this, like man, in the house I grew up in and houses I've been to, friends growing up in, it's like we never had a door like this, like creepy vibes. It's there's so much going on in this picture. Like,
Well,
what
that
is
that's
that
why.
scratching in the
Like here's
top, like the top right corner? I don't. I'm already going straight to it. I'm just like, but like, what's in there? I think too. It's like it's just a still picture. That's what like kind of bothers me a little bit, but it reads 100% creepy vibes. Like me personally, as a little kid, if that's like my house and I know strange things are happening and there's a little weird room in there and I'm telling a random person like, "Hey, he's in there. Like, don't go in there."
Yeah, so listen, 100% creepy vibes off of this one. And it's because it's a tiny door, right? Like you know what a door looks like, you know? So seeing a small abnormal version of it, it sets you automatically puts you in a headspace of like, huh, that's a little bit off, right?
Like,
So
why? Why is it this small? Like, what's the purpose behind a door this small?
it's like an entrance door for like getting into the crawl space probably.
John Malkovich door?
Oh
Is that
man,
what this is?
that's actually, you know what's funny is that's the first thing I thought when I was looking at this, and the second thing was like, shit, I got to put that movie on. I have to put that.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
have to
seen it in a
watch
long
it.
time.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in forever. Being John Malkovich is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Great movie. John Cusack and John Malkovich obviously comes out in it.
yeah,
I can't even
Malkovich.
remember the premise of it, but I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, fantastic movie. So like, here's the other thing: little kids. All right, little kids have imagination. Do you remember being a little kid?
Absolutely. I think my imagination was so wild that I think maybe even half the stuff that I remember now, I think I made up as a kid. I made up. I straight made up.
Like what? Like
Ghost
what's
stories. I can't
ghost
even tell you,
stories?
like maybe even ghost stories. You're seeing things like that time that I thought I saw the Night Stalker. I'm gonna
Oh
tell you
shit.
right now, as an adult, I think I made it up. My imagination was so wild because of what was happening in Los Angeles in the 80s that he was around there, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker serial killer in the 80s. And this gentleman was brutally killing people. And we were advised by the police to make sure that we all lock our doors and lock our windows because it wasn't normal at the time. And I was jumping on my bed and someone walked across it. And I thought it was maybe the Night Stalker. My neighbors chased somebody, but I don't know. I don't even know to this day if that happened or if I made it up, but I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old.
Okay, so that's creepy, by the way, because it's based in
True
reality.
story. True
Yeah.
story.
All
Maybe
right.
it's just a self defense mechanism that I'm like, yeah, that happened to me as a kid. And the odd thing is, I think they caught him a couple days later in like East LA.
Oh
Like
wow.
I lived through this. I survived through this. Like the Night Stalker. I remember my dad, my uncle, rest in peace, let him borrow a gun because the cops actually knocked on our house and gave us a picture of the Night Stalker saying, "Hey, we're letting you know that he killed somebody in Glendale over the hill on Adams Street, and he was around here. He's been spotted. He ran somewhere around here. He was last known underneath the bridge." And we were like, what the hell? And my dad, he learned how to use a gun, and we had to start locking our doors and locking our windows, which was not normal. And this is a true story. They eventually caught him, and yep.
Man, that your story just like took a left turn off the side of a cliff because we're talking about like stuff shit like you made up, right? And it's like, oh yeah, I thought the Night Stalker was in my room.
I
By the
didn't say he
way,
was
he
in
was
my
also
room. I
caught.
said he was outside the window, like
Oh, outside the window. Okay, yeah,
not
just
in
like
my not in
stalking.
my room. Yeah, like he might have.
Right.
Oh God, not like us, but yeah, true story.
Man,
Like yeah. Oh man,
scary.
I can't believe I never share that. It's a story I share with a lot of people. I was like, yeah, dude, I lived during the Night Stalker. It was one of the craziest time. And what was the worst part is, dude, it was hot. It was like one of the hottest summers like ever. And yeah, we had to like close our doors because you couldn't like fan it or anything because this guy was
Yeah,
going in and killing people.
yeah.
Just ridiculous. The Netflix documentary about it is very interesting. It's a great watch.
I don't
But
think I
anyways,
saw that actually. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, if you want to know like this man's mindset and how crazy he really was and the amount of groupies this man has. Like, oh man.
That I'm not surprised about, like, at all. Like, that's sad. Also, that I'm not surprised about that. But
No,
like,
dude, like, yeah. It's an insane thing. Like this man had groupies after that, and he married one of his groupies.
I'm not surprised at all on that. I just saw oh my god, I can't remember what it was called, but it's that cult
What's his name?
the
He had groupies too. Ted Bundy, man. They're
they
like,
all have
dude,
yeah, that's where I'm
they were
going with
like,
this.
choke me, daddy. There was memes. I was like, you women are ridiculous. Like seriously.
Yeah, there's just something about like the cult leader mentality. They all have like that cult aspect to them, right? Where it's
Like
yeah,
that like it's like flat, stale look of like death. Like that's what they all have.
yeah,
No remorse.
100%.
Anyways,
Well,
we went on. I deviated. I digress.
yeah, man, but like the whole point with that, right, is that like as a kid you make shit up or you experience things that you don't have context for and your imagination runs wild. Like I remember like my story doesn't involve a serial killer, by the way, so sorry. But I distinctly remember going over to my neighbor's house, watching Gremlins, okay? Coming home, and there was like a storm that night, and like my bed was like right up against the window, and there's a tree out there, and the tree was, hitting, the branches were hitting like the window, but I distinctly remember Gremlins crawling all around on the window. So
But you were making it up. Your imagination, you know.
yeah, well, that was the experience I had, right? Was that there's gremlins out there on the window, but it was, I'm a kid, so I've got hardly context in the world. I just saw this crazy ass movie that had all these gremlins, so of course gremlins are going to show up at my window in the middle of the night,
Definitely.
you know. So I look at this as like the kid is tapping into, in my opinion, the kid is tapping into how unnerving this feels to have the small door, right? Like we're as adults, we're looking at it and going like, oh, that's kind of creepy, even though it's pretty good utility to get into the walls or whatever. But it is
Yeah,
still kind of
but it's
creepy.
creepy. It's like I don't know. It's just small. The scratch marks, the signs on it, like it has like super creepy vibes. Like why does it have those scratches?
I mean, that's just like that's paint. The paint is just wearing. Also,
Yeah,
they've
dude.
got
But
like
my
a
door
5 year
doesn't
old.
have like yeah, like come on, like
The 5 year old
have
is walking up
scratches
to the
on it.
door and pulling the paint off the thing. Like
No,
that's.
it's not. Are you sure it's the child?
Oh, I have no clue. No clue. But it
I
is
mean, it
a
would have been
creepy
great if it
story.
was a video, like just to show you and then open it, and maybe further context on it. Like it might have been even creepier. Maybe once they open it, we would realize, oh, okay, that's what it is, and it would remove that scare factor, maybe.
If they
But
opened it, what happened is it would be a TikTok video and there would be some person in a dumbass costume creeping their head out on the side and then jumping at you. So
you're not wrong.
so what do you
But
think?
yeah,
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you think this is compelling as evidence of the paranormal?
Mm, I mean, sometimes kids see things and hear things. That's the other thing. And, it's like, maybe you see dead people. Like that also is a thing. And as we get older, they say that we lose some of that having that ESP, like so I'm gonna leave it as indifferent.
Indifferent. All right, I don't think there's
Yeah,
anything paranormal
no
going on
thumbs
here at
up, no
all.
thumbs down. I'm indifferent about it just because it's really good creepy factor. Yeah, it's like 10 out of 10 creep. Like they put all the stats in creepy.
I'll put it as a 6 out of 10 creepy because it
Okay.
is unnerving to see
It's
a
10 out of 10,
hand-drawn
yeah, for me,
picture from a
creepy.
kid. Yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen enough anthology horror shows to know that
To
there's
be
something
like,
good
nope.
happening. All right, well that's our paranormal for the week. Let's do conspiracy.
Oh,
This
dude,
one's
yeah, that one's
this one's
good.
great. All right, coming in from our conspiracy with 1,700 upvotes, most people upvoting, 510 comments, a giant pentagram-like star in the middle of the wood. That's all the context we have on this at all, is this aerial photo. What are your initial impressions?
All right. Um, from what people were saying that it's kind of remote where it's at, right? It's I think somewhere in Minnesota, right, is where this is at, right? Like I don't know if you read the post and where they said
Yeah.
it was at. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Now, anybody could do this. This is easy. I don't know what they're trying to state. I mean, yes, it's like in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of odd. It's pretty big too. And I don't know. We talked about this that like devil worshiping. I've come across with devil worshiping. I don't know. I've told you up there, like by Big Tahunga
Uh-huh.
and in the mountain areas, dude. There's like a lot of strange devil worshiping, and maybe even like Wicca stuff up there.
Do we
Like the
have
people,
any devil worshippers who are currently watching? If so, leave a comment for us to tell us that you worship the devil and where you congregate. Because I'm telling you, man, like it feels like they're all over the place when you're on TikTok. It feels like they're infiltrating all of society on every single level.
what is it? The devil scare. What did we say from the 80s? The satanic scare.
Satanic Panic. Satanic
Yeah,
Panic.
satanic
Yeah.
panic. Now, see, I'm not surprised by this, that being out there in the middle of nowhere in the woods, right? Like, if you're gonna go out there and burn, people at the stake and do some weird sacrificing, and like this is the place to do it, like a giant pentagram. And like I told you, I've gone hiking and I've come across like giant pentagrams in the middle of nowhere, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm getting out of here. Like I feel uncomfortable right away.
All right, so I'm going to be real honest with you right now. If I had the opportunity to leave a giant pentagram in the forest,
You
knowing that
would,
it
because
would
you're
scare
that
people,
asshole.
I would be that asshole that would do it just to do it, just because I know in 20 years
That's
people will be talking about it.
That's exactly what I feel this is. I think someone like fucking Ryan went out there and says like, okay, I'm gonna make this giant pentagram, and people are gonna think it's like devil worshiping here. It's gonna be in the middle of nowhere, and someone's gonna find this, and then this is what it is. But the thing is, like, there's no overgrowth. Like, if you look at at the picture, the original picture, and then the Google map, like, it's still there.
Yeah.
Like, look how long ago that was. That's like probably when it was fresh, and that looks like it's been, maybe if we would to go now, and if it looks like the way it does in the original picture, then I would say like, okay, there's might be some weird stuff here. It wasn't some guy named Ryan that went out there to make a giant pentagram.
Well, I think what you do is you salt the earth, right, in the pattern that you want, and then nothing grows on there because it's
I
devoid
mean,
of
I didn't know that you
nutrients.
could do that, but thank you for letting
Yeah.
me know that's what these are done this way.
Now, look, I'm not saying that I've done this before. I might have,
I'm not
uh,
saying you have.
but that's how I would do it.
But the big one that I saw that was like 10 feet big was done with rocks. And they like placed them and they were all Karens. And I was like, yeah, it just had like a weird, eerie vibe to me. And I was like, I'm
Hmm.
not staying here long enough. It was a giant bonfire in the middle of it and just lots of little pentagrams around it. And there wasn't nothing like
Tahunga?
666. Yeah,
Was
up
it?
there up in the mountains,
No kidding, dude.
upper
That's
Big
awesome.
Tahunga.
Where in
And it
Tahunga?
was so if you take Upper Big Tahunga all the way up, it takes you to the two, right?
Yeah.
And it connects to this highway. There's like a T intersection, and Upper Big Tahunga stops there, right? And it connects with the two freeway. And shortly after that, there's this place called Valcrest Rocks. And in Valcrest Rocks off of John Henge Trail, like you can find this on Google Maps. I go bouldering around that area. Big giant rocks there. And one of my friends always wants to go with me, and he always says like, "Hey, I want to go bouldering. Like, I really like the time you took me this other time, some other places. Like, I really liked it." And I was like, "I know another place that's like that." And we went there, and we were exploring the big rock croppings in every single one. And we got to the very last one, and the very last one, we found this giant pentagram with like not hundreds of them, but a good like handful of them, and one super big one that was like 10 feet, and a giant bonfire and a couple of like animal bones. At least I think they were animal bones. And even after a while, um, I even asked him. I was like a couple years after that because we didn't even talk about it. We just like noped out of there. And his name is Javier. I don't think he'd care that I mentioned his name, and I was like, "Hey, Javi." Um, he's like, "Dude, I need to ask you something, and I just want to make sure that this happened and I didn't dream it." And he's like, "What is it?" I was like, "Did we go hiking one time in Valcrest and we ran into these pentagrams?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, it's that time we came out from the side of the mountains and we scared that female hiker that was hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. I was like, that happened? He's like, yeah, dude. He's like, I thought the same thing for a while. I thought I made it up. He's like, but we have pictures of it. Not of the pentagrams, but when we went hiking in that area.
How high are you when you are on this hike?
I don't smoke weed. I don't do
Oh my
LSD, and
god,
he doesn't smoke weed, and he drinks a little bit.
man,
But it could
that
have been
sounds
the same thing.
badass.
It could have been the same thing. It could have been someone like Orion going over there, going like, "Hey, we're gonna, camp out here, and we're gonna make this giant pictogram, and we're gonna leave it here so that someone comes across and stumbles about this, they're gonna feel like, what the fuck?" And then, yeah, that like, it's like the devil, middle of nowhere. Nah, I'm not okay with it.
I mean,
Not
look,
like it
it's
had
in
like a goat's
California.
head or anything in the middle or anything like that. It was just giant pictogram like this, and it had the perfect circle, and there was a lot of them. There was like 15 of them, one super big one and multiple little ones. And but it could have been that someone put it there messing around in the middle of the night while they were camping, getting drunk. Yeah, let's make a giant pictogram, and nothing happened from it. And I don't know. I think that's what this is too. I think someone made it out of fun to mess with other people.
So it's in California for those viewers that don't know, and could have easily been also a set for like a student film or a movie where they set it up and they just didn't take it down because they're lazy or whatever. There's like so many reasons why you'd see something like that in California. Or it could have been straight up devil worship.
I mean, maybe there's a lot of devil worshiping in California.
I don't think so. Honestly, like I've heard that my entire life that there's
I've never met anyone who like actively says they worship Satan. I don't know a single person.
I've met one. I've met one.
One
And
in all the
yeah.
years that you've been on this planet. One.
Yeah, of all the years that I've been a Satanist, I mean that I've been alive. I'm just kidding. I'm not a Satanist.
But it's like that. It's like, is it like part of their like? Is it a Fight Club rules? First rule of Satanism: you don't talk about Satanism. Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, there was like so I guess the one thing was there was, from my understanding of it, was that it was a very decentralized movement. There is a documentary on Netflix that examines the Satanist movement, which is more of a free speech movement where people are using
Okay.
free speech and um, God, what was it? They were delving into like the religious aspects of protected religion. So if you're going to protect Christianity, you also need to protect Satanism, and so it was more of like a shock factor slash. It was more in the space of like democracy, right? Like how do you have a fair
Okay.
democracy? This person that I knew wasn't really like that, and she just believed in the power of Satan and had like she told me about a couple meetings that she went to, stuff like that. It
Okay.
didn't seem very. It wasn't like a big.
Intriguing.
Well, it just didn't seem very like it. I don't know. For me personally, like yeah, it's rare, but it didn't feel any different than like, oh hey, I'm going to mass. Like it was just like, all right, the person found this thing and that's what they do. So,
Okay.
but like all the stuff about like, so first of all, no bloodletting or rituals of that nature were described when we're talking about it. It was just a
Like,
brief
what she was
conversation.
describing it to you, or like,
Yeah, because I was asking her a
okay,
little bit about it, and it was, just like, oh hey,
curious.
what do you do? And it was just like it
Do
just
you
seemed
like?
like
Do
a
you
really.
cut goats' throats? Is what you're trying to find out? Is that what?
I was just curious. It was just like
Okay.
kind of exploratory conversation. Kind of the same.
Are you
Obviously,
sacrificing babies? Is it you brought out a list? Are
I
babies being
no
sacrificed?
no
Are you
I
drinking
did
baby
not.
blood?
No, none of that. None of that.
Are
It
you
was
killing
just
cats? Are you killing chickens? None of
not.
that.
Actually, I did ask about chickens. That's funny that you're joking about that, but I did ask if there was any animal
What's the
sacrifices
deal
like
with chickens? Like,
chickens.
why did they sacrifice chickens?
I asked about chickens and I asked about frogs because I had seen that circle in La Cañada
That never
that
said
one
right.
time.
For those of you that don't know, Ryan has a great story about frogs and devil worshipping in somewhere in La Quinata.
Yeah, it was just like the park across from the high school. It's not a great story, but basically we were just out driving one night, ended up at the park across the street from the La Cañada High School, and there were just like a bunch of dead frogs and like a pentagram that was drawn in chalk. And that was the time that we noped out. It was in we were all in high school. I think I'd just gotten my license or
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we
think
saw
I
the
think
the dry bed of like the little lake that we did before and after. So it could have been like they could have been dying and or poison.
yeah,
Could have been lots of things.
lots of things. Yeah.
Yeah, because
So, anyways, the reason I brought up the one Satanist is because, like, when you hear all the claims that you hear on TikTok and YouTube or any of they're really conspiracy theories, right, about the Satanic
they really
Panic.
are.
It's like they're making these grandiose claims that are just like you were saying, baby blood.
See, because that's things I've heard. Like I've heard that it's like they drink baby blood to make themselves younger and powerful, and they sacrifice them for whatever demon or entity or whatnot. Like I've heard of because it's been on like YouTube Shorts, TikTok. Like I've always heard about like they sacrifice chickens, they sacrifice like cats, like like
Show me the
it's funny because
bodies. Show me the bodies.
that's why hey, missing 411. Let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. But
Oh,
it's
that's
like
interesting. Yeah.
how I've always read online that when you're trying to adopt a cat, like they want to interview you because they want to make sure that you're not going to sacrifice these animals or you're not going to do anything bad to them. And I've always thought, like, is it because of Satan worshiping? Is that where that's coming from? That weird notion, like, or is it just because people do bad things to animals, or both?
I'm gonna ask my
But
sister
that's where
about
I get
that.
that.
She has a lot of experience in that area. Number one, I know black cat specifically. There's especially
Well,
around like October, like black cats are there's some kind of like barrier there, or they do like some kind of check. Also, it's going to vary from like wherever it is that you're going to get your cat, right? So it's not going to be like a
yeah.
consistent thing, I don't think. But generally
Well, I mean,
speaking,
the cats already have a negative connotation to them already because it's like black. It just is like witches and stuff like that, warlocks and
that's
whatnot. So it's
so
like,
weird, man.
and it's
How?
the least adopted animal inside animal shelters because
Yeah,
it has that negative connotation to it already.
I was just
And it's
talking
like,
to someone.
where did that come from? It's like I've never even researched that, but it's like most of us know that. Like, I don't know. Comment down below if you think it's other, but it's like it has that negative connotation. Like you don't adopt black cats because they're like bad luck, I guess, I've heard all types of weird things about cats. Like sometimes that they're demonic, black cats are demonic, that they're demons or they're easily possessed by demons. Like a lot of weird things about black cats.
So I mean, I was just talking with a coworker who is in Brazil, from Brazil, and I was asking, what are what are the superstitions, right, that you grew up with? Because we were talking about like Bloody Mary, and we were talking
Mhm.
about just some of the superstitions that like I've grown up with and stuff that's like around, and it always fascinates me. So I'd like to hear, what have you grown up with? And Black Hats was on that list, which
Really?
yeah, neither one of us agree with because we're both cat lovers, and I love black cats. I had two black cats in my life,
I've had
but
like two
so
or three
weird.
black cats my entire life. Yeah.
I had a weird experience with my one cat, Selena. So I loved this cat, man. I loved Selena to death. She was one of those cats where she picked her family. Like
Okay. She
she
adopted
already,
you, pretty much.
yeah, basically, right? And we were just like inseparable, just completely. And unfortunately, she got hit by a car and then passed away. And I was like absolutely devastated. Probably the most. It, it's on that top three list of the most devastated you could possibly be.
Yeah, because you grew up on with that cat. Like, yeah, when
Yeah,
my cat passed away, I was like, God, I had never cried like that before. So I
yeah,
understand it. Not everybody may understand that it doesn't have pets. They become part of your family. They become your family.
yeah, absolutely. And so when she got hit, it was horrible, obviously. But a couple days later, and I've never seen another black cat before in our neighborhood. A black cat that looked just like her. I'm not even kidding. With a collar, was in the backyard for like a couple of days, just walking around. And anytime I would go to like, you know, look and like be like, who is this? Um, she just that cat would just hop the fence and just be gone, and I wouldn't be able to follow up. I think it was legitimately a black cat. Number one, I don't think it was like a religious or spiritual experience, but it definitely was one of those experiences where, you know, I would be sympathetic for anyone that had that sort of claim, you know, just because it's like you're going through grief and it, you know, your emotions do color your experiences of the world. So of course you're going to process it in whatever, you know, mindset that you have. But it was really, that was tough. And it was definitely one of those times where I was thinking in my head, like, okay, did I really see a black cat or did I not see a black cat? And honestly, you know what's funny? I can't remember if I tried to validate that this cat existed. I think I asked like my mom. I might have asked my mom if she'd seen like a cat in the backyard or something
Like
at
a
the
black
time.
cat. So
Yeah.
my cat, when she died, her name was Kate, right? And she was like about a year and a half when she died, and she died from like kind of like a heart attack. And she died at the old apartment that I used to live in before this one. And we were just starting to move into this apartment. She passed away. And she was like a silver tabby, beautiful cat. And when we got into this apartment, all we saw and all I saw was silver tabbies that looked exactly like her. And they would always just be near our apartment. And it would be like one or two or three of them. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. I've never had noticed a silver tabby before Kate. And then all of a sudden it was like silver tabby, silver tabby. And now it's been years since I've lived here. I never see them at
Hmm.
all anymore. I see other cats, other different colors, but the silver tabbies, I never see them anymore. And I don't know if it's like they knew like I lost my cat that I loved and adored. Like my fiance and I both loved and adored that cat. She was not a bitch, but we loved her to death. And um, yeah, it was like the weirdest thing that we would see them all the time, and then it just stopped. I don't know if she was like trying to let us know that like, hey, you know, it's like everything's okay. Like I still have her. Like I cremated her, which is really weird. Um, but yeah, like God, it hurt. It hurt a lot. That cat.
Yeah. Pets are hard, man.
Yeah,
And look, if you're
was not ready for
watching
that.
and you know why black cats are associated with witches or why they're associated with, you know, demonology or satanic
Or the
rituals,
occult, or like they just,
yeah,
you know,
let us know because I'm I'm actually surprised I don't know this because like I come from like a cat family. I'm gonna have to ask
yeah.
my
Like I've had
sister.
cats. Yeah, I was like I've had cats all my life too. My sister too. Both of us. We both have cats,
Bro, we have
and
to
it's
get
just
an answer to this one. But
yeah,
by
like
next
why black
week.
cats? Definitely be like, okay, so now I know why black cats, you know, where the negative connotation or just bad rep that they get. Like where does it derive from? I mean, there are some cultures, like I think to this day, that worship cats. Like Turkey, God, like cats are like loved and worshipped there. Egypt also too, like their whole culture in the beginning was like, you know, one of the oldest cultures in the world. They worship cats, and cats are worshipped there.
I love
So
cats.
where
Cats
did
are
the
awesome.
yeah, where did the black cat negative connotation come from? Like what was it? Is I would love to know that. I don't know it.
We should have done this in Halloween. That should have been like the
Oh
focus for
man.
Halloween is like a black cat. Next year we'll do like a whole presentation on black cats. It'll be fun.
Well, even the TV show Bewitched, doesn't she turn into a cat in it?
Yeah, the black cat and then yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch
So
also.
what is it? What is it? Like what is it, you know, because they're related to witches and they think maybe cats are witches from like way past in the day. Could be that too. Who knows? I don't know.
Well that's
I'm
the
just
thing
making
is
stuff up
it
right now.
yeah, like where because that's the thing I'm curious about, right? Is it's like if this is also a thing in Brazil, I'm curious what other cultures have, you know, bias against black cat for luck.
It's here too. I mean,
Yeah,
like I
it's
told
here.
you, at shelters, like
Yeah.
black cats. I mean, I know a lot of people that dislike cats. Like, oh man, they're like, yeah, I hate cats. You know, a lot of people, but specifically black cats, like they're always in danger during Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I was good. That's what I was bringing up the restrictions on, you know, October, is because that is a time when they check because like why would anyone want to hurt anything? But the thing is like there's more black cats that get hurt around October than statistically, right? And
Yeah,
it's just so fucked up, man. That's just so fucked up. Like, give me a break. First of all, keep your cats indoors if you can because like their lifespan is like so much better I know that there's like arguments about like the quality of life and all that kind of stuff, but man, just like having
Coyotes
had,
here in Los Angeles are just like,
yeah,
whew,
coyotes and
dangerous here.
racers. Like I've had cats on my street just because there's like teenagers on the street when I was growing up. You know, they're racing up and down the street. They just kill cats. My sister's family's neighborhood. My sister just moved, but the where she was living, the whole neighborhood had a funeral for a gray cat that was just a grazer that just went around and just everybody loved, and some jackass fucking hit her and killed her,
Oh
and
man,
you know, like a whole neighborhood is currently mourning for this cat. So, which is
because it was like the
unique.
whole neighborhood cat. She was a neighborhood cat.
Yeah, yeah. The cat just she spent like time with my niece. She spent time with their neighbors, with the neighbors' neighbors, the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors. Like this cat, they had. I'm not even kidding, Chris. They had like a Sunday brunch for like all the families to go and talk about the memories that they had of this cat that was in the
Oh
neighborhood.
man,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it
I think
was.
I
It's
have an indoor
beautiful.
out. I have an indoor outdoor cat that I'm positive like has another home here besides my
Of
home.
course it is. Of course.
100%. Because if it's raining outside and I don't have him come in, he's always dry. It doesn't look like he lives in like the dirt. And his mom also too, and she's not friendly with me. And I try to pet her, and I'll feed her once in a while. But she is the fattest outdoor cat I've ever seen in my life.
He comes in and
And
he's dry
yeah,
and you're
have
like,
their ears nipped too. So it's like they're
okay,
feral cats. Like
yeah,
they're fixed feral cats.
yeah. You're like, where
That's
have you
sad
been?
about
I know
cats.
you're cheating on me with another family.
Yeah,
It's
like
just like
sometimes he'll
floof.
disappear like 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, is he even in? No, he's not.
Yeah, it's really hard when you've got like a cat that's been outdoors, transitioning them into indoors, and I totally get like the let them go
There's
and
no
out, but
way he has such an annoying meow that there's no
yeah,
way I could tolerate it.
yeah, it's really it's one of those things where it's just like just statistically the lifespan and overall happiness if you set things up right for an indoor cat is just so much better because like you said like coyotes the feline
Feline,
HIV.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big thing.
All right, well that
And
was our
even then,
cat rant.
yeah.
Let's get back on track with paranormal. So
Oh
question,
man,
what do you think is going on here? Do you thumbs this up as like a demonic satanist
no, not
ritual
at
place?
all.
Okay.
As much as I want to be a believer and whatnot, not at all. It could have been a jerk named Ryan going out there creating a giant pentagram.
I think it was a
That's what
jerk
I
named
think.
Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah, jerk named Ryan. That's what it gets.
yeah, but if you know, like I said, look, if you're a Satanist and you know about like all the baby bloodletting rituals and all that kind of stuff, put it in the comments so we
Baby
know.
drinking blood type of thing, sacrificing black cats. If you know, please let us know.
I don't think any of that stuff's going on at all. I think that is like lurking in people's fears, and it has been since the
They could
80s.
say like that's all made up. What we really do is we drink like lizard blood.
Of course, the lizard people, right?
Yeah, let's not go down that
They
rabbit
drink
hole.
lizard people blood. I love it. All right, let's hit up
Copy.
cryptozoology. Ready?
God, these make me so mad sometimes.
All right, coming in from Bigfoot with almost 2,000 upvotes. Most people loving this post, 395 comments. Opinions on this, not my video. So what we're gonna have to do is like let's talk about it just a little bit before, and then we'll show the video. I think that's kind of important for people to hear. So what we're seeing here is a man who's out hunting. He's gonna hear some ungodly scream in the background, and it's claiming it's Bigfoot. Let's go ahead and get it going. And Chris, you've heard this before. I'm not sharing the audio.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it. I actually saw it before it went viral on the post itself, and I saw it and I was like, ugh. But let's watch it. You're such a hater, bro. Oh my god. I can't even like disagree with you about it. That's the worst part. I'm supposed to be the believer, remember? I mean, it does have the right sound and travel sound in it. Like it does have that depth in it. Now, is it added? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
All right, so I'm gonna flip the script a little bit. I've got another clip for you. Let's watch this clip.
All right,
All
let's
right.
watch that one. Let me
Man,
click the
I
stream.
should have sent this one to you. Damn, hold on.
Go send it to me quickly so that way I can listen to it because I'm like, because remember every time you mess with the audio, it gets all messed up right here.
Yeah, I gotta get that dialed in.
So this is a different video, right? Is your
Yeah, it's a different video.
what's the name of it?
I just
That way
sent it
for our
to you.
viewers too.
Oh yeah. Mountain Lion Scream is the name of the video.
Oh my god.
It gives
bro.
it away a little bit. All right. Okay, hold on. Let's make sure
I
we got this
easily
going.
found it, bro.
You
I
easily found it? All right,
I
great.
easily found it. Literally, I just typed in mountain lion scream on YouTube. Okay, let me listen to it and then we'll discuss.
Okay, I'm
It's
playing it
Bigfoot, it's
for
Bigfoot
watchers.
interdimensional.
And I quote, "Rah, rah, rah." Like,
Okay.
like literally, that's exactly what's going on in that TikTok video, 100%.
Oh my god. I do not disagree with you. Now,
Of course not. It does
I
sound
mean,
different. It's got more bass. Right?
It's got a lot more pace. Okay, so they could have like slowed it down, is what it sounds like, right? They added
Okay.
reverb into it, delayed it, changed the tone, make it a lot more bassy in that other video, and then add it to it, and then layer it in the back. And that's why, because you and I know video editing, that you can do
Yeah.
all of this stuff, and that's all easy stuff. That's like entry level, someone messing with it a week into it, you could do all that stuff. You get a software to pretty much extract the audio. In that in the extract, you could change all of that, the reverb and
Shout
slow
out
it
to
down.
DaVinci Resolve if you want to sponsor
Yeah,
us. Like, send me a bunch of
easy,
stuff.
it's free. And then you get that, and then you get the original audio and you layer it and then put it on there. And then you compress it. Yeah, you could easily make it.
Yeah, you know what we need to do is we need to have like a bad faith button where we can just hit it immediately and it just like flashes on the screen, and it's like, because so many of these are just bad faith. People clout chasing, people intentionally making misleading videos just to do it as practice for like VFX and stuff like that, right? And it's easy to spot, I think. This one, so here's the thing with this one. I would say that this is just a man who's confused, who is hearing something that is confusing, like hearing the mountain lion scream. Like, we've talked about mountain lions, I think, on here before. That was one of the first of our podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Many weeks ago, where I was trying to remember what's the name of that thing that sounds like a woman wailing.
It was like a mountain lion is what I told you, yeah.
Yeah, it's a mountain lion, right? And the reason for that is, if you listen to a lot of mountain lion like videos, if you just go through YouTube, they actually have like a wide range of audio profiles, right? The one that we just watched right now very clearly sounds like a mountain lion. You hear the cat sort of the guttural, row kind of like coming up, but distance away from that, which it sounds like where he's at, the mountain lion is very far away. The gender matters, like how deep the vocal cords are, right? Where it's like yelling at, like there's a wide range of sounds, everything from like, I've seen videos that are literally, that sounds like a woman screaming, help, right? It's got like that same kind of like quality to it, all the way down to, you know, mountain lions in your face, chasing someone and making those noises, which is also very scary.
So I'm watching another one. It's just
Yeah.
little. It's just mountain lion screams, two cougars calling out to each other and striking up a courtship. And in the beginning, it sounds like a baby yelling. Like if you know, if I was out camping, and it
Yeah.
just has that that frequency, right? And then it starts sounding like a regular mountain lion, and then the frequency changes as you were saying. And I yeah, imagine being out there in the night.
Yeah, so one important thing also that I saw on the comments, let me see if I can find it again, was that this guy is well known for basically clout chasing. Um, okay, he's been doing content like this for a while. So first of all, he claims to be a hunter and doesn't recognize that this is a mountain lion. Little sus, or could potentially be that. Little sus. But 86 Eagle 5 days ago says he's been doing content like this for a while. He started with odd paranormal encounters, then moved to Bigfoot, always near his home. He has so many encounters, you'd think he was having an affair with them. I don't think we need to go into any more of the details here. I think this is just a bad faith, clout chasing person who's got
Bad
a.
fate.
Yeah, so this is a big thumbs down for me. Oh, you're processing? Oh my god.
I'm processing. No, it's bad because I was watching a bunch of Parliament of Owls. This is a great uh nature recorder. He's out here in the Angeles National Forest, and I was just listening to a bunch of his puma recording. But yeah, that's a thumbs down for me also. It's just yeah, he's cloud chasing. And every time I see
Ah.
these videos, they make me mad too because it's just like it just sounds like you know they added it because you'll hear different like Bigfoot sounds in a lot of these videos, and this one is just like God, this was just bad.
All right. So let's move on to this is we've created a little bit of space for this one.
Oh
No
man.
pun intended. All right. So here we go. This is the big one for the week. Aliens. All right, with about 7K, almost 8K upvotes. This one's highly contested. All right, so that 67 means that's the ratio of upvotes to downvotes. Okay, so that means a lot of people are downvoting this. 2,428 comments. This thing is on fire for the paranormal area. And it's Our Aliens finally gets its alien. All right, so basically, the University of Ica just announced that after studying the Nazca mummies for 4 years in person, and this is an important key feature of what the claim is for this article, is that it needs to be in person, okay? They concluded that the bodies, the alien mummies that were presented to be, examined, are authentic, non-human, and unknown to science. Let me say that again. Authentic, non-human, and unknown to science. 11 scientists and doctors employed by the university have signed, and that's what we saw on the little graphic was the people who are staking their careers on this one. This post is huge. So let's start with some initial thoughts, and then let's start to dig into some of the details because this is one where we're going to have to get in the weeds. So what do you think?
I need a moment.
Oh my god, it's that heavy?
It's not that heavy. It's just I can't believe they keep recycling the same shit. Pardon my French. I
So
just
you
think
don't
it's
buy
just
it
like
at all? You think this is
no, I
just
don't buy it at all. I think
okay.
it's full of shit. I think it's just like taken away from what really needs to be put out there. If there is true information, if there is real information,
Yeah, but
because all they're
Chris,
saying is it's
oh,
hearsay. Like, where's all this information? It's not disclosed. It's just someone's signature.
this is 11 herbs and spices that have created the magic chicken
Oh man,
that's
KFC
feeding
is
your
trash. You know it, I know it, and the world knows it.
Wow,
This
okay.
is trash. It's just trash.
We're looking for sponsorships from Popeye's Chicken, please. Contact me.
Popeyes is great, by the way.
Popeyes is amazing, yeah.
Oh my god, it's just like it just when I found out that they had another one, it aggravated me. Like I was just like, God, why are they doing this again? Like, what are they trying to prove? Like, what are they trying to get out of this?
What do you
It's
think?
like
Make
I don't know.
honestly, like, let's put ourselves in the shoe, because this is government. This is government, comma, this is institution. Let's call it an institution seal of approval, right? That's what the level
Clout
we're at now.
chasing, bro. That's what they're doing.
But why? Like, here's the thing, right? Like, I, picture the worst case scenario, right? They are completely lying about all of this. No other scientist ever takes anyone in their field. No other scientist in their field ever takes them seriously for any discoveries in the future, right? Like the institution's reputation is at stake. These feel like they're pretty high stakes for an area where there's peer review, right? And that's why I wanted to bring up the fact that if you dig into the article a little bit, or at least the claims that the Redditor is making, is that essentially they've sent out samples to other labs and they've all thumbs down the samples, but if you show up in person, it's a different story. And that's why was trying to highlight at the beginning, right? Is it's like anyone that examines them in person. So what's going on with the people that are thumbsing this down, and why aren't their voices being elevated at the same, you've got these 11 people from this institution who are thumbsing it up. Well, who else is out there? Because that's the way science works, right? Is you have to be able to repeat the experiments that are done. So what are the tests that are going on? And that's why I think we have to get into the weeds on this one. And honestly, I don't think I kind of perused the post a little bit beforehand. I didn't see anything it doesn't get like scientific, so there's no way to really tell. Did you look at this one in depth at all? Or did you
No.
just see it in like your eyes glazed over and you were like, oh boy, let's like look at it?
I was like, it's just like too long to read. There's so much information in here, bro. Like it's just there's so much information that's just like no signs of manipulation of the specimens, head skull sample, thorax sample, specimen called Louisa has eggs, fetus in the eggs, specimen called Victoria. Like they're just like the whole breakdown of it. And it's the same guy that puts it out there that keeps putting them out there, man. He's been debunked I don't know how many times. And it's I think the same ones that they debunked before.
Yeah, so listen, let's start with the context piece. Give our viewers context, because that's
Oh my
that's a good
god.
starting point from your perspective, because I'm telling you right now, like I'm already a thumbs down on this one. I think it's absurd. But you're coming in as the true believer, right? And you're already thumbsing it down because there's history and context here. So why don't you just give a little bit about that and just kind of tell me
All
why
right,
it
so
was
there's this
immediate thumbs down.
famous Mexican ufologist, right? He is like the Mexican, like information, right? His name is Jaime Maussan, right? He's been around forever, dude. And this guy's like a Mexican journalist, and he's one of those people like I don't want to say like who is he? He's like the George Nori of Mexico, but a complete like fraud, right? Everything he's put out regarding these beings that they found that he snuck out, he stole, like there's whole drama around it, right? And that's what I dislike about it. There's so much drama behind it. He's already been put out. He's been scientifically reviewed, peer reviewed, and the first time they said it was fraudulent, that was fraud, that there was nothing, that there was just mixed components of body things, right? And this guy keeps pushing this agenda. I don't know why, maybe just to make money off of it, but he's been proven a fraud, right? And even though he's done a lot for the UFO community and Mexico and everything that's been presented in the world as far as like UFO are presenting it, and it's his group, it's him, it's his people, and I don't. It's like where do you draw the line if this guy's been a fraud already and he's been proven as a fraud and he keeps putting stuff out there? People will eat it up because we want
Yeah.
to know the truth.
Well, let's put some asterisks by what the claim is here as well. The scientists aren't actually claiming that they're extraterrestrial beings. They're just
New
making,
species, right?
yeah, they're just making claims that they're non-human, which is kind of, I mean, what do you like? I don't know. Like
Like, how do you explain that? Like, is it carbon based? Is that what it
yeah,
is? Like, I don't even
seems
know that. There's no report. None of this is shared. And I think the first report that they released, right, there was so much science in it. I was like, I don't know enough of this. This just sounds like data, a bunch of data that I don't understand, right? And maybe that's the problem. Maybe call me ignorant for that, but this time
It's
there was no data presented.
so
There's
look,
no hard data. That's the other thing.
potentially, potentially, yes, you're an idiot. So am I, right? Potentially,
Probably.
just because you don't. I'm not saying we're idiots because we're not, but you just don't have the eye, right, or the experience or the science background basically to understand the information that's there. But a lot of times when someone throws just a whole bunch of random ass shit in front of your face, you know what it's there to do is just to confuse you and just to
That's
make you
exactly what it
yield
is.
to,
There's so many files.
you know.
It was ridiculous. No, I was like, no one could sit, and your average person can't sit there and analyze any of this information. It's too much information. And now it's like they didn't do the same thing. Like, keep to the same thing that you were doing. If you're gonna present us this information, present the data and stick to the same data that you've been feeding us, even if it's just gibberish. But it's not even that. Like, I don't understand. Why did they even have a second one? Because the
Yeah,
Mexican government didn't want to look like a dumbass, saying that that they took in some fake beings and said it was extraterrestrial.
I mean, why double down on that though? Like it's a better look to say we were mistaken. We have new evidence. We've evaluated the new evidence, and it shows. But I mean, look, just going into the article again, I don't have a background in biology by any means, uh, but basically, they've got like little blurbs about some of the tests that they did, basically checking to see um, metals, microstructures, very small details. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I think probably the conclusion is a little bit overstated just because it's in the alien space. If scientists get samples and they're just like, hey, this doesn't look human, it doesn't follow human patterns, right? That's what they're really saying. And then, the media spin afterwards or the way that people interpret it is that they're extraterrestrials. I mean, what if it's just a genetic anomaly? It was just like a whole bunch of mutations that
It
just
could have been.
died. Yeah, like there's a lot of there's other explanations I think that could still give them credibility. Um, so like I don't know because it's the thing again. I don't know. Like, is this panel of doctors? Are they all ufologists?
They could be.
I don't know what their backgrounds are. I mean, we've been kind of talking about this a little bit. I don't know if you saw I linked you a video earlier from Green Street that was basically debunking a lot of UFO claims and kind of looking at Robert Bigelow, who is a big centerpiece. And it also talked about the Blink 182 dude and his involvement in that whole space. And it kind of unravels it as being a whole bunch of people who are just literally wasting government money on things that they personally believe that are just absurd. And that's what happens is look, you get people in government are people. They come with beliefs. Your beliefs are going to inform your behaviors and the things that you do and the things that you advocate
Yeah.
for. It's not like it's like weird conspiracy stuff. If you go into the government and you believe in ghosts, then you're gonna make policies around ghosts.
You're not wrong. They're gonna make whatever policy that they want to, if whatever they believe in.
Yeah. So
T Rex. Jesus.
yeah. So if the doctors come in and they're all ufologists, and again, I'm not saying I know, I don't know what they are. I don't know what their backgrounds are. There's a whole bunch of links on here. There's a hour-long video presentation.
It's 3.5 hours long. The presentation, like the
Oh
whole
my
breakdown.
God.
There's a
Oh,
YouTube video, and they talk about that's what that whole breakdown is. I didn't even start watching it, but that's what that video talks about. It's translated in English for any of the viewers that want to watch this. It tells you like the whole breakdown, like how they cut it, dissected it, and what their findings were in every single segment. It's just a lot of gibberish. That's all. I don't look at it.
well, here's one question. All right. I want to be fair to this. Do you think if they were aliens, any of this would be a simple answer? As
No.
simple, yeah, exactly, right. So there is that going for it, you
Yeah,
know.
you're not wrong.
But extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So my question is this extraordinary evidence? And I think just reading that like samples have gone off to external labs and they've been like, yeah, I don't know what this is. This is not. This looks like it's you put a bunch of stuff in a blender. One other thing that's interesting is apparently there was a massive bot attack on the alien sub related to this, which I'm not surprised by. I think there's a lot of people that are just kind of assholes.
Yeah, I did see that they deleted a bunch of comments.
Yeah, and they kind of had to. Um,
I just don't buy it. As a believer, I just don't buy it.
yeah, it's just here's where here's where I'm at with it, right? I really should, because I am interested in this and I am interested in understanding more, but it's got such a bad taste that I don't want to like get into the weeds because I feel like it's just snake oil to start with.
Well, that's how I felt about it when I saw the post and how like active it was and how everyone reacted to it. And I was just like, this is not, why is this so popular? Like, why are they still talking about this? And I get it that the Mexican government did a whole nother congressional hearing and they're trying to say like, hey, this is what we found in these readings, right? Like they had all these scientists, 11, herbs and spices, and they're all trying to, put their good faith and say like, hey, this is what we found. We were asked by, whatever government, Peruvian, Mexican, whatever it was, and this is what we found. Um, it might be inconclusive data, he says, but there's a lot of strange anomalies from these findings. Everything was really weird and interesting on some of them, and a lot of it may not be human DNA.
Yeah, man, I think we need to watch some of this video, not on the podcast, but I think kind of separate. It's going to be some homework just because there are some very detailed claims that are here that I think need to actually be looked at. Like I'm just looking at this breakdown from this I don't even know how to say his name, Charzan Wan. But he's got like a time breakdown, right? That's got basically, I think this is what made it up to the top of the video. And there are very specific claims that are there. It's just like I'm not equipped to deal with biology, right? I have an engineering background, so I'm not going to be able to evaluate this as true or false. But again, like if they're putting the details out there, it is worth looking at. If there's a viewer who has a background in biology that wants to take a look at this and just like say like, just pick one out of a hat even. Like it doesn't have to be like the whole video. Just be like, okay, does this make sense? Because I feel like the problem is like I feel like if I invested time into watching the full thing, like I wouldn't be able to evaluate. But then honestly, I feel like it's just information overload, and that there would just be all junk claims inside there anyhow. So, do you know anyone with a biology background? I mean, I could ask my sister to look
nephew.
at this. Ask your
My
nephew
nephew's
to
got
look at it.
a doctorate, and I'm gonna ask him. He's like, "Hey, what did you think about this?"
Yeah, dude, like these are
If he
specific
just puts
claims.
LOL, it is.
I know, right? Like I'm not even gonna look at it. Here,
I
I'll
should ask him. He's a biologist.
send him the link or send him a timestamped link to YouTube with just one claim.
Well,
right?
he's a UFO guy. Like we've had some
Oh,
deep
no
conversations.
shit.
My nephew, he's the one that I told you that he, as a little kid, he said that he would see aliens walking through.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's my nephew. He's a biologist, bro.
No kidding. Well, yeah, have him look at it, man.
I'll hit him up. I'll shoot him a text and I'll ask him. Be like, I'll have a little conversation. I was like, hey man, I have the dumbest question for you.
Cool.
I was like, it's UFO related.
I'll pick one out for my sister to look at, and I'll see what she says, because she's more equipped to evaluate this than I am.
There's an interesting thing on it right at the very end. Okay.
Where
it says that they don't think that the specimen Maria could have been a hybrid, like, and that some of the stuff was like 30% human. That was like interesting.
What does that even mean? That I read. Like, what does it mean to be 30% human by your genes? How does that even like translate? You've got like you've got
All
like
right, so if
30%
you go,
DNA human, and
okay, so
then
if you
just
go with the ancient alien theory, right, that I'm
oh
gonna
my
go down.
god. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, that we were genetically modified, right? That we were chimps because it's a crazy like weird hybrid, right? And then it's 30% human genome, but it's also mixed with chimp and bonobos from Africa and some other unknown species. What if they were like making a little cocktail of like human, right? And they were like the aliens were like mixing it up, trying to make humans. And this is like the first stage of it before we got like, Neanderthals and Homo sapiens and, you know, neo Homo sapiens, what we are now, or neo Homo sapiens. Like I said, I'm not a biologist. I don't know enough about this, but what if this is it? What if this is like first stages of humans evolving? And this is what it could have really been. And that's why it may not be known species and doesn't make it not even be alien at all.
Okay, real talk for a second. What do you think is a better explanation for like where humans came from? That an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-good God created people out of
Oh
dirt.
man, we're really gonna go down this
Yeah,
road.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
ready to
Because
go?
because I'm curious. I'm
Okay.
curious. Well, hold on. Wait. I'm gonna give you three options. Okay.
All
So
right, let's
there's
have it.
the religious option that an
God created.
all-powerful, yeah, God created it.
I don't believe it.
Two,
I'm just it's like the
aliens.
watch. Go on.
Aliens, right?
Aliens.
Okay,
That's
so
number two.
aliens came in and they basically took a bunch of swab samples and put it in a blender from animals that existed on planet Earth, and then that made people. Or three, over long, inconceivable periods of time, over small changes, eventually life evolved to the point where we're sitting here on a fucking podcast on Sunday talking about the three options of where we came from because of an
Deep
alien post.
questions. All right. You want my answer first? You want me
Yeah,
to go? Okay, so number one was what was it? It was
God.
God, right? That God created us in his likelihood image of him, right? And he created everything, the great galaxy universe in 7 days, and he rested on the seventh day, whatever, the saying is, and he got one of his ribs and created a woman, and bam, Adam and Eve, and that. Like, no, definitely not number one. No knock to that belief system. I think they've explained it in theology that each day really represents like 1,000 years or 10,000 years, and that's how they, uh, you know, time. I'm not gonna go down that route, but definitely I don't think number one is. And number two is aliens mess with DNA and created humans, right? Like that's number two in a nutshell, right? Like the Cliff Note version of it. And number three is that we evolved from a single cell being and kept evolving and multiplying and getting more complex and evolved from the chimpanzee or whatever it is, right? It kept evolving, and um, millions. I don't even know if it's millions. I think thousands of years later, hundreds of thousands of years later, we evolved to to us sitting here talking, having a podcast. Now, I would absolutely love to believe that somewhere along the way, aliens came down and decided to mess with primates and change the DNA and have us evolve and jump, thousands of years of evolution, right? And create humans. I would love to think that theory is what it really is, number two, but everything inside me, intuition, belief, just science, right, tells me that it's three, that I believe we evolved from one single cell system and
I'm
we evolved to what
surprised.
we are now.
Wow.
Now, I know there is a lot of debate about it because it's like, well, the missing link, right? It's like you see the bridge, right? And it's missing a giant piece of it, but you could still see the whole giant bridge. And that's where I think humans evolved. Even though we're missing that small part of it, that there's a gap in it. And everybody says it's a missing link, but it's still a bridge you could see. You could clearly see, and that's what humans are. And I don't know where I learned that, who taught it to me, but I've always believed that that's what it is. I don't think aliens came and like fucked with us and genetically modified us to be slaves to help them build the pyramids. And I don't believe any of that. I believe it's evolution actually
The
happened,
correct
and we
answer
just
was two, just so you know. It
oh
was
god
two. It
damn
was
it, Ryan.
aliens. Yeah, sorry. You have to live with
But
that
yeah,
now.
like I that's what I believe in science. Science.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the small changes over time is something that we can see, and
You know, it's like what did it say? Like Earth was created by bombardment of like meteors. You know, because a lot of them may have had hydrogen in them, iron and whatnot, and just keep getting bombarded. And the belt system is off eventually is what protected us from that because that used to be apparently another planet and it got blown up or something like that. It collided with some other thing. And it just like we just happen to be in the perfect environment for life to thrive. You know, not too close to the sun, not too far away from it. We weren't in immediate danger of asteroids because Jupiter's helping us with that. The asteroid belt is also helping us with that. And, you know, we have a sun that's healthy. You know, it's about mid life of it. So it's just, we happen to be in the perfect outcome for life formula.
okay, but what if God set it up that way, or if aliens with their vast knowledge and godlike knowledge?
Dumb luck, I think is what it
You
is.
think it was dumb luck? Yeah, I think it's probably dumb luck because the thing is we're dealing with time scales that our brains can't understand and
Yeah.
comprehend, and so when you are taking things out to infinity, right? All things happen. It's just a matter of when. So yeah, eventually there's going to be the right conditions for life. When you're talking about infinity, and to be fair, like I don't know that that's true.
I
People
don't
don't know
know
that
if it's
that's
true,
true.
right? Like
So
everybody will give you the clock theory, right? It's like if in the middle of the Sahara Desert, there's everything material wise to make a stop clock, a stopwatch, right? What is the likelihood of it being created on its own?
oh
If all the
yeah,
materials there are there, right? Something with intelligence have to have created it. It likelihood of it coming together is nearly impossible, right? They're gonna give you that. Then something created all of this. Now, do I believe there's an intelligent being, a higher being? Um, I'm gonna say yes. It's never been presented to me though, unfortunately. I grew
I
up
thought you meant
Catholic.
me. Man,
Not you.
I'm
Get the
just
hell out of
so
here.
fuck. Yeah, I'm so tired now. I gotta go. Actually,
Oh my God, God, Ryan, that's what's he's getting so God complex over there. But you know, like to think that this, you know, also didn't happen by chance, like I don't know, something like had to have created this. Now, if it's still here, the whole evil genius thing that it's like that artist that finishes that painting. Once it's done with it, it's gone on to the next project, bro. That's what I think. Whatever being created all of this is done. If there is a such thing as a being, it could also be that there's absolutely nothing, and I'm okay with either or. And I mean, people fight, wage wars over this stuff, belief system.
oh man, so much. And what's interesting is I remember maybe this is just I don't know, maybe something has changed, but like I remember at least in my youth there was a lot of conversation around theism versus atheism, right? There was like I had friend groups that were very Christian and very eager to debate their faith. And it was always like a fun sparring match, I think was the way that I would describe it. When we would get together and talk about these things. That feels like it's gone. I don't remember the last. That's one of the reasons I was
The thing
asking
is,
you.
people, I think, I see, because I used to love doing that too. Like, not like purposely like fight with people,
Yeah.
but have some good debates. You know, have some interesting conversations about it. But people sometimes like get their feelings would get hurt, and then it started
Mm.
becoming taboo. Like, you know, you can't insult people's feelings. You can't insult people's belief systems anymore. It just, and I'm not trying to say that we become like a softer society, but we've changed as a society, and I think now it's even more. And maybe we feel maybe we're not seeing that much. Like people are not actively debating God, no God. Like it's you know, or whatever belief system you are. Now it's just like no, we're just going straight to war.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting just looking at the alien stuff. I mean, the question that we opened with was, what's the purpose right? Why is the government going down this route? Well, I, it could be our origin story. What if the government is
Oh
trying to
man,
rewrite our origin story, right? Is aliens
it's
have
like
created us.
that movie that what's it called? Mission to Mars, right? To say that we weren't originally from here and we came from
Mhm.
Mars, and that's our true origin story, that we were placed here, and this
Again,
could be our
why
origin.
why would a government want to be in this space at all? Like that's my takeaway from this is one, I think we need to follow up and just have like someone who's a little more
I mean,
specialized.
I think I've talked about you about this, right? I have a crazy conspiracy theory that I think they're actually preparing us for super
Disclosure.
contact, like super contact. Like I feel that they're preparing us, like not intuition, like I actually feel that they're super preparing for us, like sometime in the next like 10 years. Like, hey, the world needs to be ready for this because whatever this is that's happening, we need the world to be prepared because it's going to change everything. And I think that's how I feel. I'm interpreting everything that they're bombarding us with. Like, why all of a sudden change of heart of information, disclosed information? I think they're preparing us for something.
But why give
Movies,
people
books.
garbage? Like, look, you already came. You're coming at this from a perspective of you want to believe. I'm actually coming at this from a perspective of I want to believe, and both of us tuned the entire fucking post out.
It's just
Like,
garbage.
it's garbage.
But
So why would they prepare us with garbage?
it's the same thing as someone writing creative writing and no sleep. That's what this is.
But how does that prepare people? That's my
Because they
question.
don't know how to really tell you the truth. It's like what happens when they really tell us the truth.
You know how you tell someone the truth? You tell someone the truth. Like
The
I'm
problem is humans lose their fucking minds, bro. Look what happened when they told us the truth of COVID. Like, oh yeah, COVID's gonna be a problem. And what did we do? We lost our fucking minds for toilet paper, bro.
We did lose our mind for toilet paper
We
and
lost our
sanitizer.
fucking minds for toilet paper. I don't care if YouTube strikes us, but we lost our fucking mind for toilet paper. What do
Yeah,
you
we're
think will
not.
happen with this shit?
Well, yeah, but like again, like I don't know. I don't know that
We
there's
lost
like
our fucking minds.
it's just like so here's the thing, right? Like there's actually comments in here about disclosure, and in the background of a lot of the aliens and UFO Reddit is a lot of people who take the same stance that you take, right? Is that and in the Skinwalker Ranch subreddit, which is a little much smaller, but there's a lot of people who think these things are big moves in the disclosure movement, that someone else has a big grand piece of information that they're basically doling out. But I'm telling you right now, like, here's the problem. I and I mentioned this. I think I've been watching these older episodes of sightings from like the '90s when I was a kid,
Mhm.
right? The same arguments being made on those episodes that are coming from people about disclosure. They're like any day now in the next 10 years and people aren't prepared and all this kind of stuff. This exact same arguments,
20
right?
years ago, they were saying the same
Yeah,
shit.
20 years, sorry, 10 years. I can't even do math. 20 years ago, they're saying the exact same shit, right? So, like, my take on this is that the disclosure movement, until there's a alien alive or dead in front of me, I can't make heads or tails of this. There's interesting
But
things to
okay,
see in the sky for sure.
so I think too, maybe we're not even ready for it because you know how people reacted, right? It's like, yo, they came out and they said that like, hey, aliens are real, they're real. And what did we? What was the top news? Is gasoline was like $7.
There's a
That's
lot
what
of
we cared
money.
about. Like,
Seven
eggs were
dollars is a
like ten
lot.
dollars. Milk
Yeah.
was like $10. That's what we complained about more, And it's like, oh yeah, it's like all of a sudden the world didn't care that there's aliens,
I don't
and
think
maybe
it's
they
that people
thought
don't care. I think it's they're tuning it out just like this fucking post, right? It's like,
I tuned
show
this
me the
out.
body. Show me
I
the
tuned
body.
it out. I am a super believer. I am a super believer, right? I am a super believer. As much as I want to say, like, I sit here and I argue against all these posts, like, I believe there's aliens. I believe there's reptilians. I believe there's humans, hybrid type of thing. I believe that they actually came and like fucked with us and genetically modified us. Like I believe that. Like I honestly believe it, right? Even though science is telling me other, and that I believe, yeah, that we just evolved for oneself. Like we evolved that way, but like I believe, like I want to believe. call me crazy.
Why do you want to believe? What does it change for you?
I can't even answer that. Like, I don't even know what. It's like I don't know. Maybe fucking Agent Smith explained it right. It's like I've known something has been wrong my whole entire life, but I just can't
Hmm.
figure out what it is. And I think this is something like this.
You don't
Like I
think
was like,
that's capitalism? You don't think the problem is that you have to show up to work every single day?
You're not wrong. But like it's like why do I sense that? It's like my intuition is like senses that like I know there's something wrong. I just don't understand what it is. And yeah, maybe it's I don't understand it. Like we live in modern day slavery. That's a hot take for you. It's
Yeah.
funny that when I was like 20 and I worked at Costco and it was like my first like really like adult job and someone used to say like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go home and take off my slave clothes now." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What? What is he talking about?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is your slave clothes that you're wearing, bro." It's like we live in modern day slavery.
Yeah.
He was
I
also
don't
one of
think
those guys
Aliens
that had
fixes any
the
of that. That's the thing,
he
right?
he worked at Costco and he also had like the employee handbook in his back pocket and sit there and like, no, 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 you can't tell me to do that. That's not part of my job description. And he would sit there and tell me to, and maybe like 18, 19 years old. It's like, don't let them tell you that you're supposed to do certain stuff. He's like, it's not part of your employee contract. Don't let them take advantage of you.
Yeah. I think with Aliens comes this idea that they're gonna free us from ourselves in some way. I'm not saying I believe this, but I think some of the allure is this idea that they're gonna have that they're far more advanced than us, right? So they're gonna have more answers about where we came from, and they're gonna have
Just
all
want to
this
live like the people
technology.
like in Wally, bro. Like that's how I
Yeah,
want to live.
that they'll provide something like that, that they'll change
Like
our
that.
life
Like,
experience.
utopia. Maybe, we're all chasing utopia. I think it comes down to it. And
Yeah,
I don't know,
but
maybe that's why I feel like, oh, this will do it. This will get us closer to it.
I mean, have you
And
seen
I know it's
Invincible?
not.
Have you seen Invincible at all?
The TV show or the movie?
The TV show,
No, I haven't.
not the Mount either. Dude, you got to check out Invincible. This is it's on Prime, so you can check it out easily. I, fuck, dude, you haven't seen it, so I don't want to spoil it for you.
All right, I'll
But
watch it. Let's see. Okay.
it's actually low investment, and man, if you've ever had
The
like,
TV
oh,
series? The
it's
cartoon?
cartoon, yeah. It's so look, here's the thing, right? It's by the same guy who did The Walking Dead, so we're looking at that level of quality. Very low investment. Season 2 just started right now, but it's very relevant, I think, for ongoing conversations about aliens, just because it'll come up again. I'll bring it up again for sure.
All
Check it
right,
out
I'll
when you have some
watch
free
it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a
Well,
chore.
season
It's not gonna
two,
be like a
like, yeah.
chore thing. It's gonna be fun. It's a wild
Okay.
ride. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
check it out.
So here's my take on aliens. I think people generally think that it does change the scope of where we are in the universe, and that's an exciting thing. So there's all this excitement that comes along with them bundled up, but it could easily be, the end of humanity. It could easily be, um, oh man, there's an episode of Creep Show, which is on Shudder, which is a horror anthology series that's got a great example of first contact gone wrong, and how it basically isolates people. So when you're talking about disclosure and stuff like that, I think that the general idea is that there's some kind of like amazing utopia. I think you used a great word there to describe it, that we tap into, and that we're just not prepared as a species. But there's so like there's so much you have to believe so many things to get there,
Well,
right?
what
You have
if
to
it's
believe
getting
aliens exist.
romanticized? That I think that's also the problem.
Yeah,
It's getting romanticized. Like, what is the movie that I think that romanticized it very heavily? I think Arrival did that.
yeah,
It romanticized like alien disclosure, right? Like it was like we were on the verge of catastrophe and world destruction. And for those of you that haven't seen a spoiler alert, and it's like they presented us a weapon and we had to unify as a country, as a world, as one species being, to come together because they're going to need our help eventually in the future. And the truth is, they found us as a threat. and they felt that we were actually going to destroy them, and they needed us to change because we're a very destructive society. We have always been.
Bro, why does
And
this
it,
guy have medals on? Why he's coming from the Olympics? What the fuck is this?
Hold on, let me
Did
see.
you have you seen this?
No, I haven't. I just saw it right now. Oh my god, he's got it.
What is going on here? So first of all, this looks so phony. This looks so... On the face of it, it looks bad. You have to have like a lot of context to even put any faith in this at all. But why has this guy got like medals on? What's going on here?
Oh my god. Maybe no disrespect to the scientist for whatever country he's from. Maybe that's part of like. But like, why does he have like a lipstick?
Those things, he's leaning over the specimens. I don't care. You can tangle up your medals while you're doing an exam. Come on.
Oh my god. We're supposed to be serious here. You're going like, why is he wearing medals?
I want to know.
Oh
like, I'm being serious
here.
What
I'm
like,
gonna do, dude? I'm gonna watch that video. I'm gonna screen cap that. I was like, yo, does anybody have a problem with this scientist wearing a medal?
149.53. Like, come on, man.
Oh my god, I'm dying here. Oh. Like, who the hell wears their medals? Oh my god.
Dude, this is the
4
hours
bonus,
of
that's
this.
ridiculous. Yeah, that's what I was like.
I saw them jingling. Look, like I'm honestly, like, we're having this conversation. This thing is in the background, right? And the guy leans over and it starts to jingle.
Aliens, and you're like, this guy's wearing fucking medals.
Yeah, like
why is this guy wearing medals? Participation medals, maybe.
This is insane.
Dude, I'm still getting over my flu here, laughing that much just hurt my throat, bro. Oh my god, this guy's such a... I can't even hate on him, dude. Like, I gotta give him props. Like, he worked his way to the Mexican congressional hearings, like being the main guy next to like the president. Like, that, my hat's off. I'm gonna salute you, sir. He's the infamous ufologist, Mexican ufologist.
So what he did like a lot of TV specials? Is that what he was doing? Hundreds.
And he's like it. As a kid, I thought they were interesting. As young adult, I still thought they were interesting. And then all the fake stuff, it's like he was doing it for money, doing it for clout. Is that guy wearing stunner shades? Did you see him?
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment about it, but I was
he's wearing stunner shades. He's over there.
A little bit much. I mean, I did have a legitimate reason for bringing it.
I wear my sunglasses at night. Oh my god. Shades. I thought I've been doing these lights are too bright for me.
You boomer.
Right here.
Straight up boomer, dude.
Oh my god.
I
think we're getting really comfortable with this podcast, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right?
And hey, you're the one that brought this video up. I was gonna eventually watch this, and oh my god.
Well, I just put it in the background as like something to, be visual while it's going on. But why does this look like it's a freaking like pizza ad from like La Pizza Loca? Like, I'm not wrong, right?
No, you're not. Why does it look like some fifth grader put this together?
Yeah, this is like what kind of technology? This is from the 90s. I'm not even kidding.
You got that from GeoCities, bro. That's what it looks like.
The dancing Jesus is gonna come up any second now.
Oh my god.
I mean, okay. Oh my god, what is going on? What is going on, Chris? What is this?
God. I don't know. I'm telling you, it's comedy gold right now for us. Like, what is the deal with her face?
Oh my god. I'm actually not going to send this to my sister to look at because then she will not look at me.
I was going to send it to my nephew.
Send it to your nephew. He's going to be our sacrifice for this one. Unless someone is literally going to comment in our video about it.
Please comment down below.
Oh man, please, if you have some expertise, like, because that's the problem. We're looking. All of our sources are from Reddit, right? Everybody's a weekend biologist on Reddit.
A
No one's
weekend, 15-minute biologist. Hold on, let me look it up real quick.
all right.
That's comedy gold.
Bro, the government is really just into this. They're just like, this is
I don't
official.
know. I don't know, bro. I was born and raised in the United States, bro. I wasn't born and raised in Mexico. I don't know, like culturally, like we're very different, dude. I'm Mexican American, bro. The Mexicans don't think I'm American. I mean,
Yeah,
Mexican enough, and the Americans don't think I'm American enough. That's how I feel.
man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy it. Like, this is just like, this feels so strange to me. I am
It's
glad that someone
infotainment
translated
at
it.
this point.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is like, is this really part of the conspiracy subreddit and we just don't know? Like, you were talking about,
Maybe.
like, how the disinformation of like cryptozoology was there to really just cover up like mafia, right? Like,
Yeah.
is this just a smokescreen? This feels like it's more of a smokescreen to me. Like in 10 years we'll be looking back at this and it's like, oh yeah, there
Cringe.
was a genocide in Mexico that we didn't know about, that was, happening, and they covered it up with aliens, something horrible, right? Something
It could be
absolutely.
like that because just look at the amount of people, the immigrants that are just coming from, Central and South America, and they're all going through Mexico, and then a lot of, who knows what's really happening. Like the Mexican government, I think, is actively trying to stop them because the United States government is pressing them. Like, you guys need to stop them. So it's like, what type of catastrophes are really happening or atrocities? We don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah, man, it's hard to live. It's just like
You just
day to
have to. We
day.
can't sit there and dwell on it. If not, we're just gonna dwell on it all day and night.
Yeah, it doesn't change my day to day at all, right? Like, I'm still gonna wake up, still gonna do my thing, go to work, all those kinds of things. But it's just like the looming threat of all the ridiculous conspiracy plays that are going on. And that's, conspiracy is a loose word. I just mean just sort of all the politics space and just like stuff like this, right? Like, which happens. There's all kinds of campaigns, misinformation campaigns, distraction, all that kind of stuff. And it just makes it so hard to sort through any of this just as like a normal human being. I
And
struggle with being able to read ballots, like finding the time to read, like, and vote, in my own
you don't read it
country.
on the fly like the rest of us?
I tried. Well, when I say I struggle, I mean I get it, and I like am okay. I'm gonna take a day and go through this, and I don't want to do that shit, but I eventually do, and that's the kind of struggle that I'm talking about, right? Is it's like I'll
Yeah,
go
it's just
through and
like
do it.
it's like the popularity contest. Who am I gonna pick? It's like I was like, I don't know. Half the time I don't even know. And I vote. It's like, it's like one of
Yeah.
those deals. It's like I have no idea what this is even talking about.
Well, half the time you don't understand the full implications of
No.
the thing you're voting for because you can't.
This
You
is this is a
literally
perfect
can't.
example. I'm gonna give you the perfect example of what we don't understand what we're voting for. Do you remember that California bag ban that happened a few years ago? And I think it happened also too in Portland, right?
Well, I know the
Like you
bag
guys.
ban happened here and it did not go well, but
Okay,
what happened in
so this
Cali?
is this is how stupid we are, right? So we voted for the bad bag, right? And it won unanimously, right, to get rid of it. But the second part of that legislation, what it was is there was a vote on it saying, what do you want the funds to go to? And I think it was like education, roads, tax that, or whatever. And the people voted against that and then allowed the business to do whatever they wanted with the funds. And that's what passed. Because the way that thing was worded, I guess we voted, oh, vote against the bags, get rid of the bags, but don't let the government do whatever they want with the money. Just let the businesses decide. And I don't know if we did it. I didn't even understand it. I'll be honest with you.
What did they do with the money?
It's up to the business to decide whatever they want to do with it that they're making. Because you know how they charge you 10 cents for a bag? That's
Yeah.
profit. But initially, what it was going to be like a tax where it would go into the public.
Hmm.
And we voted against that, which makes no sense.
Well, yeah, people don't know what they're voting for. People don't know aliens exist. You present a bunch of information like this. How do you get through it?
You
Help us
can't. It's too
out.
much information.
Yeah, help us out in the comments because I don't have good answers for any of
Show
this.
your medals.
Yeah, show us your medals in the comments.
That was awesome, bro. I got some volleyball medals here when I was like 10, 11, or 12.
Dude, I'm curious
I'm
now. I'm
gonna
gonna
start
scrub through
wearing them.
this real quick. See if there's anyone in like
Let me go get my
costumes.
medal. Hold on.
Oh Jesus, he's really getting it. Do you really go and get your medal? Yeah, okay. So you're
Look
equipped
at me.
now.
I'm a scientist now, bro.
Yeah,
I
you're
think that's.
equipped to
I'm equipped now to analyze.
okay, I'm gonna turn
That's
this off.
ridiculous.
What is going
But
okay, alright.
I got my medal here.
These are the eggs that they found, I'm guessing. That was the last part. So look, I'll take a look at like a small segment in my free time on this. I'm already like a huge thumbs down on this one, just FYI. This is just
I was thumbs down when I started.
yeah. I really would like to see something here that looks compelling. But the problem is they need to get external scientists in from other countries to validate this, you know, in some way, shape, or form. They need an ally. They can't just do this solo, right? They need to find another country, another lab, multiple, right? Because this just looks so fake.
Like, how many people do you need to get something like super peer reviewed? Like, what's the actual amount? Like, 'cause I don't even know that. I know it's like always like scientific, like way to do things and get it peer reviewed. Like, how many people does that really involve? That's like a question I don't even know.
Well, I think you start with laying out, and it sounds like, you know, just kind of looking at the post, laying out what your testing methodology is, right? Have someone validate it. But again, this is going to cost money, so you need to find a lab that's willing to do this for free or is funded by like a government. So it's not like science is free. So,
No.
you know, that's the other piece here is, man, there's going to be money involved in this. Anyhow, I'm going to thumbs down it. You thumbs down it. I think we're good
Thumbs down it.
to move
My
on. From
medal
this one.
thumbs down it too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Hold on to that one. All right, you want to do Tales from Redacted?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I totally forgot about that.
All right, let's hop into it. Oh, actually, that's going to wrap it up with our weekly This Week in Redacted. Thank you very much for joining us. Please, if you've got this far, like and subscribe. It helps us out as new content creators. All right, now
Like and
you
subscribe.
go. Yeah, say something.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit that comment button, hit that notification. Comment down below if you like what we talked about. Share your metal stories if you have any. Thanks for watching.
All right, folks. It's been fun. Talk to you next week. Take care.
My sides hurt from laughing. My girl came up to me and looked at me too, all weird. Like, she's like, what are you laughing about?
Yeah, we're gonna have to also do an outro at some point. I completely forgot. Probably do an outro next week, I think. So, but let's hop into Tales from Redacted. You all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
All right, here we go.
It's scary music. Not a scary story. It's a strange story. That's funny. We're going to talk about green people just covering the whole Mexican Congress part 2. Anyways, I'm going off topic here, but have you ever heard of the Green Children of Wolf Pit story?
The Green Children of Wolf Pit? No, this is new.
Yeah, I don't know how I came up across this story. Obviously, looking for strange and interesting stories. But this story takes place somewhere between the years of 1135 and 1154. It takes place in an area of King Stephen's, William of Newbarrow, in England. And the way the story goes is these two children were found by these gentlemen that were out. I guess they were, cleaning up their area and their farm. And these two children appeared, and they were all green skin, and they kind of like panicked a little bit of like how they looked because their skin was absolutely green. They also spoke an unfamiliar language. Their clothing was unfamiliar, and the children seemed kind of taken aback by them. So what ended up happening is the village took them in. Someone of some type of royalty took them in, and they didn't really want to eat anything. And everything that they were trying to give them, they were not eating, right? And they said that there's something weird about the children. They didn't look normal, besides being green. So what ended up happening is they finally gave them some type of beans, and they started eating them. And then after they started eating them, they started introducing them to bread, and little by little they started eating, and then their color pigmentation started changing and started getting closer to like our skin color. So what ended up happening is the person that took them in, I guess he was of some type of royalty, so he had the means and ends to keep them. And I guess over time the kids learn to speak English. What ended up happening is shortly after the kids got baptized, the boy died, and the girl ended up surviving. And there's some strange things about the little girl, that they say that she eventually learned to speak English very well. She grasped everything, and she started talking about where they were from. So they said they were from this land known as the Saint Martin's land, and that in this land that everything was green, there was no sunlight, and that the light was something similar to it being either like twilight or sunset is where it was at, and that everything there was green. Everything that they ate there were green. And she starts telling their story that they were out there, I guess, like grazing. They were like feeding their cows, and they were grazing like their father's cattle was out there grazing, and that they heard these loud, strange noises like bells. And the next thing they knew, they found themselves, they were in wolf pits. And Wolf Pit, England, is an area where they found them, and it's actually named after wolf pits. So what wolf pits are these giant holes and dens that where they would go and try to trap either deer, other type of venison, bear, wolves in the area. I didn't even know wolves were native to like England during that time. So that's where they found them. They came out of this area. Eventually, the lady, she grew up. But during this time period, she was very like, what did they say that she was she kind of like slept around, and she was very, yeah, it's just a very strange story. And she eventually married somebody who was part of like royalty. His name was Richard Bear. I couldn't find anything about him or actually her picture or where she was from, but it was just like a strange story. It was accounted in some guy's book by the name of Ralph Cogswell, nor William of Newbarrow, and he like did this whole explanation about this. And there's so much stories behind it. Now, why I covered it is because a lot of people think this was the first encounter of alien species, like because they're green, they're weren't speaking English, they look different, they didn't look 100% human, but they eventually evolved to being human. And the weird thing is the kid died too, but she survived, and she adopted like pretty much like all the human traits off of that. And a lot of people think that this might be one of the first early encounters of like alien close encounters. It's from so long ago, it might be even folklore, and some people think it was actually made up. And it kind of died with history, but it wasn't until maybe like 19th century where I guess this person's book, I can't remember the man's name. There's so much information about it, but I think modern versions of the tale are known as Babes in the Wood. That's like another modern version of it. I didn't go into that, but a lot of people that I read about this say that it's Babes in the Wood. And I don't know. Tell me what you think. It's an interesting story. That's why I covered it because of what was going on in Mexico about the whole congressional second hearing, and I don't know. It was kind of interesting. Uh, in the book that the guy writes, she did say a lot of strange things, and I couldn't really find like clear messages of what she was saying. But that she did, the one thing that she did say that I did share was that in her land, there was no sunlight, and that's why all of them were green, and they ate nothing but green and wore green. And
They had cows though,
yeah, that
right? They had cows in her
uh,
land. Were they green?
I don't know. And it's strange,
Weird.
you know, from 1153, I think is the area. But she apparently, like, yeah, she survived, had kids, married. She said that she was from the land of Saint Martin.
The Babes in the Wood was the name of the tale.
Yeah, like what they think is like a second tale of that called Babes in the Wood.
Wow. I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, see, so the actual writing of what the guy that wrote the book is that the sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our land is a little cheered by its beams. We are contented with the twilight, which among you precedes the sunrise or follows the sunset. Moreover, a certain luminous country is seen and not far distant from ours, and divided from a very considerable river. Like that's what they said that she said as an adult, like when she started talking about her land. I think the name of the gentleman was William of Marylebone. Historia Rerum Angelica Renum, Book 1, Chapter 27. It's a famous folklore story. Babes in the Woods is also, like, I guess, loosely based off of that. And I've never even heard of Babes in the Wood.
Yeah,
But
actually,
going
haven't
into
I?
the whole, like, alien conspiracy, weird paranormal stuff or anything like that, saying that this might have been a first close encounter, alien encounter.
Could have been fairies too.
Yeah. East Angela is like East Angelia village. I think this is where it happened. And yeah, there was just people, I guess they were raking their fields and they came out of this pit, wolf pits, and they look all disoriented and they went to go check them out. And that's how they came across and they didn't eat anything for days. Eventually, they ate like some type of beans because they were familiar with that and they gobbled it up, eventually introduced it to bread. And yeah, that like changed their color.
I feel like if the scenario with aliens, right, would have to be something along the lines of crashed spaceship. Because like, why else would you have children that are left alone with no parents? I mean, I'm assuming that they have got like parents and children and stuff like that. And in which case, it feels like it would have to be that scenario, right? Like parents are dead, it's lost in space, basically.
Yeah.
I don't. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. It was such an interesting story, and I enjoyed what she said that I like, hey, pretty much in my land, there's no sun. It's just, what you guys call sunset or sunrise. That's what it's barely like light,
Yeah, I
and
find with
everything's green
folklore,
here. Yeah,
it tends to be it's more of transmission of knowledge rather than actual fact, right? So kind of in the same way that like the Bible is a collection, although the Bible does claim to be factual, but the Bible is a collection of stories that are about morality, and it's less about like the actual details, and it's more about the interpretation and the message and the all that kind of stuff. Folklore is the same thing. It's a transmission of really important information. Did you happen to look and see what the Babes in the Woods was
no, I
about?
didn't.
Okay, we're gonna
Let's see what it covers. Really, I've heard of it before. I've never
well, the story
like read
tells
anything about it.
Yeah, it's of two small children left in the care of an uncle and an aunt after their parents' deaths. The uncle gives the children to ruffians to be killed in order to acquire their inheritance, telling his wife they are being sent to London for their upbringing. The murderers fall out, and the milder of the two kills the other. He tells the children he will return with provisions, but they do not see him again. The children wander alone in the woods until they die. Their bodies are covered with leaves by the birds. Like many morality tales, the story continues with the description of the retribution befallen the uncle. So yeah, that's
A little dark.
Oh yeah, I mean I love folklore. I hadn't heard this one before, but it tends to be very, very dark. The green thing is very interesting to me because it tells a different tale than this, which is very clearly, like they said, it's a retribution story.
Yeah. Yeah, it was such interesting. I was like, like wolf pits. Like I think that's what grabbed my attention first, and then ended up being something totally different.
Absolutely fascinating. I can't tell if it's aliens or not, but it is.
I don't think it's
absolutely
aliens, but
entertaining.
it just kind of has this weird vibe to it if it is real. Like, it's like maybe I don't even know. Does any type of disease cause your skin to turn green or malnutrition?
That's a good question. The only thing I can think of is from Creepshow, the movie with Stephen King in it. Do you remember the meteorite that comes down? Have you seen that before?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, so he basically opens up this meteorite that falls to the earth, and slowly he becomes a green plant-like monster, and then he kills himself because that's what he
There was
is.
also another theory that they were probably like from, how there's that theory that there's a Middle Earth here, that there's like the Earth is hollow, and they come from the inner kingdom of Middle Earth. But that's like a whole other story. I
They
don't have enough information about that.
they could also be from Greenland.
Oh my god!
I'm
Get
just
outta here.
saying it's in the name already, right?
You're not. Greenland is not Greenland. Greenland is ice, and Iceland is green. Didn't you
That's
remember
so
that?
confusing. Why would they do
It
that?
absolutely is. It's just like one of those things that Greenland is actually full of ice, and Iceland is actually green. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, the Middle
I
Earth
mean,
stuff is
the
interesting.
most plausible explanation is the children were refugees or immigrants who were abandoned by their parents, and they left them with this lord, and this lord took them in, or the people took them to the lord and tried to be like, "Hey, this is what we found. Kids look green," and they were probably suffering a medical condition
Yeah, the only thing
that
that
they were
changes your
suffering
color,
from hypochromatic anemia
there's something that turns
that
you green.
that'll turn your skin green,
Okay. Yeah, the only
and
thing that
chlorosis were the two things.
yeah, liver damage is the only thing that I would think of which would turn you yellow. So,
See, the thing is, during that time, though, England was also experiencing a lot of immigration. It's also possible that the children were part of a bigger group and they got lost, and that they got lucky and someone took them in. But her like sleeping around was like the crazy thing that I was like, what? They said a specific thing that she was. Where is that thing that just said about her? It was like specific things that she was like. What was it? She was reckless and swollen. I can't remember what it was, something like that. But I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting that they would say that about her.
well, that's another fascinating Tales of Redaction, Chris. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And if you enjoyed what you heard tonight, we have a weekly podcast where we talk about the top abnormal news from every single week as presented on Reddit. Links will be in the description here. Please check us out. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. What do you think they were? You think they were aliens?
I think they were immigrants.
Just so fucked up to know that that's what they really were. They got lost and they were probably suffering some severe anemia. Just a crazy time, and they got lucky. Fortunately, the boy did die.
Yeah. One second. Boom. There we go. Well, I think that wraps up our weekly podcast. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. We're doing this every single week, 6 p.m. PST, all the way through December. We'll also be reevaluating whether or not we'll be doing YouTube, Twitch, Kick, or some other streaming service at that point. But you'll always be able to find us on YouTube, where our podcast will lie. So, closing words, Chris?
Have a good night. Nothing. See you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Same bad time, same bad channel. Thanks all. Have a nice.
Have a good night.